Hello everyone. How's everybody doing today? Long time no see. I finally made it here. A day that did not have some sort of strange occurrence, or maybe every day has some strange occurrence, but nothing that kept me from going live today. I didn't lock myself out of the car today, and we don't have any migraines here today, so this is good. It is a good day. And I managed to get some gardening done too, so that is awesome. I got some flowers in, need to do some vegetables afterwards, and hopefully I will still have a little bit of daylight when we're done. I am Alana Worf, Sleepless Stamper. I am in Winnipeg, Manitoba in Canada, and I am here with project number 2 of the Layers of Beauty suite. I have been doing a week-long series each week for the last few weeks, and this week we are featuring Layers of Beauty. This also happens to be the stamp set that I am using with my stamp club this month. So just make sure I have no volume on my end so that if anyone tunes in and comments, I can see them there and not have you guys getting feedback. So if I was just saying that, hi Linda, how are you? That Layers of Beauty is the stamp set that I am featuring with my stamp club this month. And so I have decided, rather than trying to avoid the set that we're using in Stamp Club, so that there isn't too much redundancy, that it would be better for my Stamp Club members if I did feature the stamp set that we are using in Stamp Club to give them even more ideas of what they can do with their stamp set. So they place an order of $40 for Stamp Club, and then they get to participate with making the cards that we're making. They get host benefits and all that kind of fun stuff. And then here on Facebook, with a $65 purchase, you can qualify for all of the cards that we're making throughout the week. So now they can, if they choose to, bump up their order and get all of the cards. And then you guys can also earn the cards. And if you wish to join in Stamp Club for the month, you can do that as well. All right, so this is the Layers of Beauty stamp set. We have the main focal image here, and then a couple of smaller images, or a few smaller images, and then 4 greetings. So I really love this one, the You Make My Heart Smile. I also love Grateful for You. And then of course, sometimes you need the Happy Anniversary or the God Bless. But I decided to pull in a different greeting today. So today I am using, hi Ramona, how are you? And Karen, how are you? So I am using the greeting from I'll just bring this in here, Thoughtful Moments Hybrid Die and Embossing Folder. So look at that, my silver foil is still in there. It didn't run through properly the first time, so I had to tape it in place. Otherwise, I don't typically tape it in place, but I just popped a little piece of silver foil paper into this die and embossing folder just where I needed it. You can see which one gets the most use here, which is the Just Because, and I love die cutting it with silver foil. So that has become kind of a staple in my creating. You never know when you need a Just Because card, and it kind of fits so many occasions or no occasion at all. So this is the one that I used for the greeting instead of one from the set. And if anybody qualifies for the cards for this week, then that greeting is easy to use. I can easily die cut that for you all. Okay, so then we have all these dies. So we have some accent dies that go with it. We have a little greeting die, and then we've got all of the dies that go with the stamp set. So the previous cards that I have shared, I did not use the die to die cut the image, but today I am going to do that. So I'll show you real quick the first few cards in the series. These 2 are the ones that I am making with my stamp club. These 2 here. And then on our first day, so day number 1 of the Facebook Live series, I created this one, which is very similar to this. I just stepped it up with the extra step of the embossing folder, and then I colored the centers of the flowers with an alternate color than the few that I was using with the mask. So I'll do that again today, but I'm going to still use the masks. I'm using a different color palette, and then I'm going to die cut and alter the die. So I'll show you guys how I did that. All right, so I'll put these away. And then I have another project I'm working on. I don't know that this is going to be one for this week because it's a lot of coloring, but I've been working on this piece here too. I just have to decide what I'm going to do with it. But I thought I would show you guys this. And I'll tell you more at another time how I colored that, but I just love the color palette of that one. Okay, so let's review supplies. I have a thick white card base. Mine is 4 1/4 by 11. That's what you would get in your kit. You can always switch it up and do a book fold if you prefer. I have a basic white layer, and I do just need to quickly tell you the measurements, or measure it to give you the measurements. This one is 3 5/8 by 5. And then this one should be 3 1/2 by 4 7/8. 3 1/2 by 4 7/8. Now this one here, I textured with that Dashing Designs embossing folder again. That's the one that we call the Bounty folder. I have a 1/4 sheet of cardstock that I'm going to stamp my image on. And then I have these 2 little die cuts. These are this little accent right here. So I have 2 of those. And then I have the Just Because, and I have some white twine. So we're going to move all of those aside. I am going to bring in a stamp mat today because the other day, oh my goodness, sorry, I'm dropping a roll of tape here. The other day I did not bring in a stamp mat, and I think I had to stamp it 3 times before it worked out to my satisfaction. So I am going to just be preemptive today with the stamp mat. So I have my stamp all ready to go on a large block, and I'm just going to ink this up with Memento ink. I don't like to use StazOn if I can help it on polymer. So plus we are just blending ink over top of this, so it really doesn't need StazOn. Now with this one here, I am really just stamping the whole image, because now I should have brought that pressure tool in again, and I think I bounced the stamp, so we're gonna have to see if I got a nice enough image. I really should just use the Stamparatus, but there we are. It is fine. Thank goodness, you guys. All right, so we're gonna leave this aside. Now I'm gonna bring back in my piece of paper. Now I need to just cut off the side. Now I think I might be onto something. I love how this ink is blended here. And when I reveal the coloring method of this, I'll just show you guys again, of this here, I'll explain what this is all about. And I think I need to turn this into a technique. So I'm gonna cut this edge of the paper off, but I'm gonna keep this as a reminder to myself to give this technique a try. And sometimes this is how new techniques are born, because you end up with a little accident, and it's what we call a happy accident, right? Ramona, I know you've been around when we've called it that. Okay, so I have just a piece of scrap paper that I am going to tape to my work surface. I am also going to tape down the piece of paper that I stamped on to the piece of paper. So taping the paper down is just keeping that steady. And let me see. And then that gives me a solid kind of anchor to tape the piece down that I'm doing the technique on. Okay, so I have this. Now I'm gonna bring in my stencil number 1. I apologize, I did not clean them first today. I did clean them first the other day before I did anything with them, and today I did not do that, probably because I was outside gardening. All right, so we're gonna line this up. Ignore these lines here because I'm starting fresh. I'm gonna have to mark that again. So I am going to line this up with my image. So if you are watching, I don't know who is still there. Do you own this set? Ramona, if you're still there, I can't remember what all you got. If you have this one or not. So I'm actually going to grab just a different color of marker. I will bring in a blue so that I can make sure I'm not trying to line up my next one with the wrong color. Look at that, I put things almost down in exactly the same place as one of the other times. So I've just marked the outlines. In reality, you probably really only need to mark this one. I just like to mark the others just for extra reassurance for myself. And I am going to begin, I'll show you guys my color palette. Today's color palette is Bubble Bath, Berry Burst, Blackberry Bliss, Soft Seafoam, and Old Olive. So I'm going to begin with Berry Burst. You have the bundle, Linda? I think I just got a card in the mail from you with this one. It's beautiful. You always do such beautiful work. Now I have just got to grab all of my blending brushes. Okay, so I haven't marked this one yet. Sometimes I mark them, you can see here, with a little circle. I'm going to begin with Bubble Bath. This is going to be the largest portion of the flower. So usually you would dab off on a piece of paper. I'm just going to dab off right on here because then I can still use that ink. So we're just going to blend this. And I was telling you guys the other day that I try to come down over this little flap. I want to try my best not to damage any of the finer details of the masks. So we're just going to blend our lightest color first. And you can always mask off different parts of it, just like I did the other day. In fact, after I do this step here, I need to mark the centers of the flowers. So that's good for Bubble Bath. We're just going to move this. I think I need to send this card to my mom. I did send a picture of this to her while I was making it, and she said, I think that's my favorite. So I think she needs a card in the mail. What do you guys think? And I posted some of my, I've been posting some of my Take to the Sky Suite cards from class last night. You guys who tune in with me have seen them multiple times on screen, but my mom was reminding me about our ties to aviation as well. So I love that people have been sharing their own personal stories with aviation. Okay, so next up is Berry Burst and stencil number 2. So the first one, I'll just show you here, was stencil number 1, and they are numbered in this top corner. So just a recap, because if you're tuning in for the first time today and didn't see Mondays, then these stencils have a number up in the corner, and you want to follow that order when you are applying your color. Okay, so Berry Burst is next, and I did tell you guys I would mark the centers, and I didn't, but it is masked off here too, so that's okay. So we're gonna just, I'm trying again to come down instead of going up. I don't want to catch this little detail here. Linda, do you find that you do that too when you're masking, is just be cautious of which direction the finer details are? Sorry guys, I have a little bit of a frog in my throat still too. I'm like better. I don't feel sick anymore. My voice just hasn't completely gone back to normal. There we go. So that's Berry Burst. Now I have next, before I do this one, because on this next layer, it will blend over the flower centers, and I don't want them to be the Blackberry Bliss color. I want them to be yellow. So rather than blending them, I'm going to just color them. The other day I did blend them, and that's fine. You can do that. It's just easy enough to just color them. So I am just coloring them in with some Daffodil Delight blends. You could use a Daffodil Delight marker. You could use whatever you like. And this is going to remind me not to blend over the center when I am going over the next layer with Blackberry Bliss. Okay, so stencil number 3, we are using the blue lines for lining up. Did I do? No, I didn't. I feel like I did this in the wrong order. This looks like it is lining up. Is it? Oh no, it's not. Oh my gosh, you guys. Okay, threw myself off for a second there. I thought it was lining up exactly with the last step, and I had myself thinking that I did the wrong order, but it makes sense because I can see the yellow center, so I will try not to fret. Oh, thanks, Linda. And I got some more today. I need to open that one up. It's been a bit of a crazy day, and I will message you as well, actually. Okay, so Blackberry Bliss. I just have a small blending brush for this one, and I'm going to purposely avoid these yellow parts because I know now, don't go over that. That's the part, the center of the flowers that I want to keep yellow. So I don't want to go over those centers. I can pull this color back in. How many of you guys plant flowers? Or do you have a perennial garden? If you don't plant, do you have perennials? We do almost all containers, but I would really love to do some more perennials. There we go. I think I might even add a little bit more of the Blackberry Bliss. So the nice thing is I can just line that back up and go right back down. Okay. So we're going to go a little darker. I want a little bit more definition between the Blackberry Bliss and the Berry Burst, which was the middle color. And I'm just being cautious not to get this over the, oh, wow. Well, that's okay because I'm going to be die cutting this. So interesting. I must have had some ink on the back. And that's how that happens. So just check that. If you were going to do this on a layer that will remain on your card, if you're not die cutting it, that would be disappointing. So just check the back of your stencils first. Now, what was I saying? I don't remember. Oh, perennials. That I would love to do some more perennials. And then maybe do a bit less of containers. I love doing them. It's very enjoyable, but it's also very costly. Okay, so stencil number 4. And I would like to have more. I just love the look of some of the perennials. They're so pretty. Okay. So this is now in place. Now I have soft seafoam. And I just want to make sure I have the right orange or green brush. Goodness, that's not orange. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to pick up the Pear Pizzazz. My gosh, that's been a while. Soft Seafoam. And we're going to blend that over. So if I do color for you guys with this large image on one of these days, what is your thought? I probably will color half of it in advance because it's a large image to color. When I do Stamp Club, we will do the whole thing together because everybody will need to color theirs in Stamp Club. So I'm not going to go ahead and do half of it in advance then, because then I would just be ahead of everybody and we all need to do it together. But here on live, what is your preference? Pre-color some of it so you don't have to watch the whole thing. All right, so there's our soft seafoam layer. Now we're going to put the detailed layer of the leaves, which is stencil number 5. And I am going to do this with Old Olive. So we can put soft seafoam away. Bring Old Olive out and make sure I've got my Old Olive brush. This is probably actually Granny Apple Green that I labeled that with, but that's okay. I use the same one for both. Now, that's moving a little bit. So Linda, have you done all of your coloring with blending brushes, or have you hand colored with markers on any of them? Let me know how you've done yours. Did you ever get Enduring Beauty, Linda? I just got it today. Once I started playing with this one, I was like, well, now I need the other one too. I mean, do I really? No. Now, before I'm finished with this one, I'm going to just lift this, take a peek, and see. I'm going to do a little bit more Old Olive. So there we go. Just want a little bit more detail. The coloring definitely takes a lot longer than stenciling, but it is also very impactful. Okay, so there we are. That's all of the coloring. And I will show you now what I'm going to do next. And boy, do I need to clean off these ink pads. Look, they've got Blackberry Bliss all over them. Okay. Okay, so we can get rid of all these extra layers now. And I'll just keep this. I'll need this tape again. Now, with this large die from the coordinating set of dies, I'm going to just peel these off for a moment. And we're going to line these all up. I shouldn't say line them all, line it up with all of the little parts of the image. Okay, so we have that. This is Post-it tape for anyone who is unfamiliar. Oh, that has moved a little bit. I don't want that off center. There we go. Now I'm going to move this out of the way, and I will bring in my Stamp Cut and Emboss machine. Sorry, it's a little clunky. Okay, so we need platforms 1 and 2 and a cutting pad. Now, excuse my beat up cutting pad. It still works, so I still use it. There we are. Now I'm going to place this on here, and I do have a split in this cutting pad, so I'm going to grab one that has a little bit less of a split. I have a few that have a split in it. So let's see if this part I'm going to slide this down, and I'm just going to put, no, that's not going to work. I need one that's not. I need to open some new cutting pads, everybody. It's time, I think. So I am going to put this towards the end, and I'm just going to place that split above where the die goes. There we go. There we are. Sorry for the camera shake. There we are. Now I will set this down, get this out of the way, and then we're good to go. Okay, here we are. Now this is where the magic comes in to do this. I love this die. Now I'm going to use my, again, I just call this a slicer cutter, and I have dissected this between this point here and this point here. So I'm going to keep all of this together. You can see that goes here. And then right where this has a little V in there and another one here, I'm going to slice across between there. And I just want to make sure that that is the correct, that I kept that much. Yes. So what I'm going to do is line this point and this point up on the blade track. Okay. So I'm putting those points on the blade track. Then I'm going to bring my blade up here, pop it down in between there, and just slice to the other one. And you can feel the resistance when it stops. So now I have, and it feels like a little bit criminal to cut your beautiful image in half, but I love the impact and the way that you can frame out your piece of paper with that. So let me know if you think you're brave enough to hack up your beautifully stamped image. All right, now we are going to move on to some assembly. So really, this card is quite simple to put together once you have done all of your blending, which doesn't feel like a lot of work when your stencils do all of those layers for you. I really love that. So we are going to first glue this bounty layer, or I can't even remember what it's actually called now, the emboss layer to the solid white layer. Now, I actually, you know what, we're just going to glue that. No, I'll tape it. I need to get a new Tombow. I love my tear and tape. So we're just going to tape this down, and believe it or not, I did not distress the edges today. Now, if you don't own this bundle yet, is it on your wish list? If you are somebody who wants to join in with our stamp club on Monday, that is a $40 purchase. We will be making the 2 cards I showed you earlier. I will review them again later. And then the weekly or week-long live, you can qualify for these cards with a $65 purchase. And then, of course, you can do $105 and qualify for both. Now, even though the class is on Monday, if that doesn't leave you time to get the bundle before class, you can always watch the replay. All right, so I have adhered those 2 layers together. Now I am going to dimensional that down to my card front. And I like to make sure it is nicely covered, so I use a lot of dimensionals. Just peel all those backings off. Linda, do you plant flowers at home? How about you, Ramona, if you're still there? There's something satisfying about deadheading as well. I mean, sometimes I don't enjoy that it needs to be done when they look horrible, but it's very satisfying to do that. All right, now this half here, so again, if you're just tuning in, this was the image I just sliced from here. Now we're going to rotate this piece up here. I actually started with it the other way around, where my frame was this way, and I do really like that too. So if you have a greeting that you want to put on the bottom as opposed to the top, that works as well. I just found it wasn't going to allow me room for the bow and all that kind of stuff, and I kind of liked it up here, so I switched it around. But don't be afraid to do it this way. I really love these 2 elements in this direction, actually. But we are going to stick with what I have, and we will put these this way. So I am just dry fitting, and I'm lining them up to the inner piece of white paper, the textured one, and I am going to dimensional them. So we're just going to snip some dimensionals here and get this all fitted with dimensionals. Now I'll put the flat edge to the flat edge of the dimensional to the flat edge of the die cut, and get this all ready. Now, I just love this bundle. Why I don't know if I told you guys that. I didn't originally feel sold on it, and I now love it. There's so many color schemes you can use this with. As you can see, we've gone from blues, now we're in pinks. I have one in the works to go with the Global Design Project Color Challenge. So hopefully that will come together. Now, this is all outfitted with dimensionals. I should probably put another little one over here. There we go. Probably doesn't need that many, but it does now. So these leaves here are overlapping the top, and I am just lining up the cut edge with the inner white. Now we're going to get this piece ready here. I need to snip a few more. It is so satisfying when you get down to the end of a sheet of dimensionals like this and you can make use of every last bit. I don't know if you guys find that. I just love that satisfaction. Now I'm going to line some up with this outer piece here again, the flat edge of the dimensionals to the flat edge of the die cut. And then we'll do this. Now let's see where this is going to end up. I feel like I need to put another little piece right there, or I mean, it might be fine, but we're going to just tuck this right in here. Okay, so now we'll get these backings off. Now this one is going to come off the bottom of those little layers of white. And it will kind of nestle in around here. It's almost like they made it so that you could do it that way. And I don't know if they purposely size things so that you can hack them apart and do that. They certainly size things for their original intention, but I don't know if they do that. Now we are actually almost done. I'm just going to get these backings off of here. So all we have left to do is the two little leaves and the greeting. And I am going to get this ready with some little mini dimensionals. And I just need to be careful not to put one behind the JU, because otherwise the dimensional will butt into those flowers. So I am going to get these ready here. And I don't want this one to go right to the E because it overlaps a little bit. So I'm going to get that ready. And then with this in place, I'm just dry fitting things. Okay. And now with that in place, I can glue dot my leaves where I want them. So I have not yet pulled off the backings of the dimensional. And it's probably going to butt right into where this leaf is. So I don't want it pulled off just yet. Okay, so this one is trailing in from the side. And now the next one is going to trail in from the other side right here. So I've got a little glue dot on there. Hold this in place again. And then I'm just going to tuck that right in there. So now this should, there we are. So that will nicely lay over the base of each of those two leaf sets. And first now I just want to tie a baker's twine bow. So this is with some, white baker's twine. Got the hiccups now. So I have a piece here. Just get this bow tied. Do you guys tie your bows like I do, or do you do bunny ears? I cannot tie a bunny ears bow. Not for the life of me. I don't know why, but I can tie a decent bow this way. I just cannot do bunny ears first. Now my scissors, you guys all know, I need to get them dealt with. Alrighty, so we've got our bow tied. Now I'll get another little glue dot. And this is also just going to get tucked right in here. I actually might need to, probably shouldn't have put that on just yet, the glue dot, because, I don't know that my loops are big enough, but we're going to test it out. Yes, they're good. It'll be fine. So now I can pull the backings off my just because. And then we're almost done. I didn't actually put any additional bling on this one. I decided my silver greeting and my bow were enough. and chose to not add anything more. So I have pulled these backings off. Now we are going to just tuck this right in here. And I want that little loop kind of below the just because. I don't want it right up there. There we go. And then I can give this a push down. There. So that is today's card. I have 3 more to do. So what I will likely do is do 1 or 2 tomorrow, and 1 Saturday, or the other way around. So ideally I would do this Monday through Friday, but just with the mishap with locking myself out of the vehicle yesterday and then Lennon having a migraine on Tuesday, that was his first one, poor kid, hopefully his last. I sure hope he does not get another one of those. He is not a complainer when he's in pain. And so when he calls to say he needs to be picked up from school because he is feeling terrible, you take him seriously. And he also doesn't like missing school. So, especially not at the end of the year when everything's fun. And today was the last day of school. So he really didn't want to have to miss Tuesday. They're doing, hanging out and having all kinds of fun things. So thankfully he is much better now. And hopefully it stays where he does not get any more migraines. All right, so that is card number 2. I have 3 more to do, so I will just decide whether I'll do 2 tomorrow, 1 Saturday, or 1 tomorrow and 2 Saturday. But I will still do this series of 5. If you wish to place an order with this host code, your $65 purchase will qualify you for the supplies to make the 5 cards. You would, of course, need the stamp set or something similar. Like I'll give you the quarter sheet of paper with this one. So if you don't have this image, but let's say you have Enduring Beauty, because it's the same concept. And I was telling you guys earlier, I just got this one today. So I just wanted to bring this one on as well so that you could see that you could do this one. And actually, I do usually die cut that piece. So if you are qualifying for this class and you don't have Layers of Beauty, but you do have Enduring Beauty, just let me know for this element not to cut it. And then you could stamp and cut your own with your own bundle. All right. Oh, thank you, Linda. I'm glad you like it. That means a lot. I know that you do a beautiful job of your cards, so I appreciate that. Yeah, so I'll come back with 3 more cards yet this week. If you want to qualify for them, then your $65 purchase with this host code or by submitting your order through me. Thanks, Mom. This might be for you. My mom said, one of my favorites, beautiful. So I did tell them at the beginning, I don't know if you were here, that this might just have to be for you. So that's the finished version. I sent it to you earlier and it was this way. And then as I finished it, I rotated it this way. So you can, just as I was saying, you can qualify for all the 5 cards. That is this one and this one. So very similar, just slightly different. And then with Stamp Club, I will be doing these 2. So if you're interested in qualifying for Stamp Club, that's a $40 purchase. We'll make these 2 together next Monday. And then these ones that we are doing throughout the week, I would mail you the supplies for the 5 cards. All right, I will take off for tonight. I will be back tomorrow. It'll probably be evening time, but I will post to let you know what time, and then you can join me to find out whether I'm doing 1 card or 2 cards, but it will be with the Layers of Beauty bundle, and then I'll come back again Saturday. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good night.